welcome back to the session. So in the previous session we have seen what is the software design, so some of the software quality assurances, how we have to do. Okay, let's go for the next topic, that is what are the elements of the software quality assurance. So in order to check the software quality, in order to get the assurance that the quality is a good one, so what are the elements we have to consider. Okay, so SQA, software quality assurance. So shortcut is SQA. Okay, encompasses a wide range of activities that can be performed to ensure the quality of the software. So why we are doing the software quality assurance? So in order to confirm, so this quality, whatever the quality is checked, it's a perfect, it's a good one. We can access it, we can use it, like that. Okay, so in order to get the type of quality assurance, so we have to consider some of the elements. So what are those elements? First one is standards. So we have different types of standards. ISO standards. Most probably it will give the ISO standards some 9001, 2 like that. Okay, like some standards will be given. Okay, so whether it is ISS standard or ISO standard, what are the different standards you have? So next one is the review and audit. So what type of reviews are conducted? So how many reviews are conducted and what type of auditings are conducted regarding the software? So that is a review and audit. And next third one is the testing. So we have the different types of tests: unit test, integration test, regression test, and smoke test. So different types of tests are there. So what type of tests are performed on that? So in testing, so what are the results we got? So we have to check. And next, the fourth one is analyzing error. So if you're working with the software, if you are getting any error, so how to analyze that? So is there any possibility to analyze the error? That is this one. And next, the fifth one is change management. So if there is any problems in the software while doing, so if you want to change, so you can change at any place, at any way. Okay, so that is a change management. Next one is the education. So while developing of the software, so who are the developers that are going, who are programmers who are working on that? So what type of skills they have? So what type of skill they can perform? So what type of abilities they have? So that is education. Next one is vendor management. So vendor management is nothing but, so whatever the products we are preparing, so who is the vendor for those products? So what is his requirements? So he can able to resolve the issues whatever they get, not internally, some problems, whatever the external problems we got with the software. And next, eighth one is the security management. So what type of security we can provide? So web apps. So for example, if people are using many of web applications like internet banking. So internet banking is provided some HTTPS, that is a security. Okay, that means in order to avoid the hacking, in order to avoid some threats. So we use the security management. So what type of security given to the software? So if such type of some different types of attacks are there, some different types of hackings are there. Okay, in order to overcome those, what type of security is getting? So is that security whatever it is providing, so is it good for the product or not? We have to check. And next one is the safety. So some safety measures we have to take in order to use some products. So whether it has the copyrights of the product or not, like that. Okay. And next one is the 10th one is the risk management. So whatever the technical reviews we have conducted regarding the product. Okay. If there is such errors, some errors, so which cannot be resolved by the developers. So those errors can be modified later or not. So there will be some risk management. Okay. So these are the different types of elements we have to ensure that the quality of the software is a good one. Okay. And next one is, so that some of the remaining are the requirement quality. So what are the requirements? So what are the requirements taken by the stakeholder? So what are the requirements we have taken from the users? What are the requirements we have taken from the customers? So those requirements, we have to take the quality requirements. So which requirement is ensured that the software can be worked perfectly. So next one is the design quality. So we have seen design models, different architectural models, different design models. So whatever the model you are using, so how is the quality of the product in the design purpose? Next, code quality. Code quality is nothing but, So whatever the coding you perform, so whatever the program you have written, so whether it has a good quality or not in the code. That means semantic errors and syntax errors are not there or not. So that is a code quality. Next one is a quality control effectiveness. So how the quality can be provided. So how it can be how effective it is. Okay. So these are the different types of the metrics. Different types of the metrics means measures. Some different types of the measures we have to consider. And next coming to software reliability. So reliability meaning is so how frequently we can use. Okay, like that. So software reliability. So the reliability of the software product essentially denotes trustworthiness and dependability. Okay. So what is that? So the reliability of the software product can also be defined as the probability of the product working correctly over a given period of time. So for example, operating system. So if you have taken the operating system, so the operating system will have some certain period in order to work with that. So after the time is over, so your systems will tell. So the Windows is getting outdated, or Windows you have to activate the Windows. So or else your system will not work. Like that you will get some notifications. Okay. So reliability means that how much probability the product is working. So for a given period of time, how much the product is getting to work. So in the correct way. So that is a reliability. So intuitively, it is obvious that software product having a large number of defects is unreliable. So if the product, whatever the software we are using, so if it has some defects in that, so whether it is working not properly or whether it is not getting the third party to install into it, like that, whatever the some problems. So if the problems are occurred, so then that product we can't say as a reliable one. It is an unreliable one. Okay. And next one is, it is also very reasonable to assume that the reliability of a system improves as the number of defects is reduced. So whatever the product we are providing or producing, so if it has a less errors or less we can say defects, then we can say the product reliability is more. Okay. And next coming to, it would have been very nice if you could mathematically characterize this relationship between the reliability and the number of bugs present in the system. So while doing the software project, so you have to present one thing in mathematical form. What is that is? So how many number of bugs are there? Bugs are nothing but some errors. Okay. How many number of bugs are there present in the system? Okay. What is the and the relationship between the reliability? So how much effectively it can work. So for this, for example, for int data type, so if you given as the input, you will get some correct output. If you given some decimal point of data types, then you will getting some error. So like that, we have to summarize the one table in the mathematical form. Okay. So next, unfortunately, it is very difficult to characterize those observed reliability of the system in terms of the number of latent defects in mathematical expression. So when we have to try to give the mathematical expression as per the above point, so but it is very difficult to characterize all those things, to summarize in the mathematical form. It takes some more and more time. Okay. And next, hardware versus software reliability. So we have up to now we've seen the what is software reliability. Now we are going for the next topic is the hardware and software reliability. So what is hardware reliability and what is software reliability? Okay. So hardware components fail due to varied reasons as compared to the software components. Yes, sir. Yes, hardware may fail due to so many of the reasons, not similar like a software. So hardware components fail mostly due to the wear and tear. So if you frequently uses hardware like a battery charging, so that is a hardware. Okay. So you are frequently charging the battery without continuously. Whether it is getting the down or not, if you are not bothering, so you are continuously plugging off the battery of your laptop or mobile. So that is one is a hardware failure. So a logic gateway may be stuck at 0 or 1. A resistor may short circuit. So hardware means, so what are the capacitors, what are the resistors, so whatever the motherboard is composed of so many of the chips. Okay, chips are nothing but some chips, not potato chips, these are the chips. So like electronic chips. Okay, so whatever the chips we are placed in the system, whatever the chips we are using in the laptop or in mobile, okay, so whether they are working perfectly or not. So if you are continuously charging the battery of your laptop or mobile, so without whether the battery is drained or not, without bothering about it, then your battery may come to lose its power and it's already almost will go for the fail position. Okay, like that. Okay. So next one. In contrast, a software product will continue to fail until the error is tracked down, either the design or the code is changed to fix the bug. So when we got some error in the hardware, so when we have so if your laptop got your batteries down, so it is not working, then we will replace some other battery. But whereas in software, so if you got some error like in programming, so for example you write some logic, okay, for swapping of two numbers, so you are not getting the output. What you will do? You will get some error. What you people do? So you will write some more logic. Okay. So you will rectify the logic or you will rectify some syntax errors. Then it is going to be work. So that is the differences between software and hardware. And next, for this reason, when a hardware part is repaired, its reliability would be maintained at the level they existed before the failure occurred. So we come to know, so when the battery is going to drain. Okay, so that means when hardware is going to fail means then we can realize, okay, this is going to be failed. So we can replace it with a new thing. So we can do. So whereas when a software failure is repaired, the reliability may either increase or decrease. So for example, for the same thing is happened for the software. Software means the program what you read. Okay, we can't say that the reliability will be increased. We can't say or reliability will be decreased. We can't say. So we get the correct one or we can't get the sum. Okay, so by trying and trying we will get the reliability. Whereas in hardware, if one part is over, so not working, so we will replace some other part. So that may be reliable. But whereas in software it will not be like that. So to put this fact in different perspective, hardware reliability study is concerned with stability. For example, interfailure and interfail times remains constant. So in different perspective, hardware reliability is mainly concerned with the stability. So for example, internal failures like motherboard is not working, then you replace another motherboard. So that means if you replace another motherboard also, the system will work perfectly. So for example, if you have some problem with your operating system, what you people do? The same operating system you will format. Okay, so but you can't do any modifications in that. If you want to do modifications means, then we can't say whether it is a reliable or not. So whether it is working perfectly or not, we don't know until and unless we run the system. Okay, and next, so reliability metrics of a software produced. So how to check the reliability of the software products? So what are the measures for that? So metrics means measures. Okay, so the reliability requirement for different categories of software products may be different. So different software products we have. So some of the operating systems, some of the web applications, some of the desktop applications, different operations, different applications are there. Okay, it is different from software to software. So software products. So for this reason, it is necessary the level of reliability required for the software product should be specified in software requirement specification. So in SRS documentation. So a software requirement specification, SRS means software requirement specification. So the shortcut we call it as a SRS. In SRS document, they will write what is the software. So what is the product we are going to develop. So what are the steps we are taking, what type of architecture model we are following, what type of design model we are following, what type of code we are written, okay, what type of tests we have done. So those things will be written in a document that is called as a SRS. So in order to be able to do this, we need some metrics to quantitatively express the reliability of the software product. So in order to check the reliability of the software product, we have to get some quantitatively expressed. So what are those? We need some metrics. What are those? So a good reliability measure should be observed independent so that different people can agree on the degree of reliability of the system has. So what are those qualities? So first one is 6 metrics we have to follow in order to check the reliability of the software product. What are those? First one is rate of occurrence of failure. In shortcut, we call it as ROCOF. That means it measures the frequency of the occurrence of the failure. So how many times the same error is getting occurred? It is repeating or else. Okay. That is the rate of occurrence of failure. Next one is mean time failure. So what is a mean time failure? Mean time failure is a time between the two successive failures. So when one error is occurred, so we resolve that. So after that, we are getting the same error. Sometimes, so what is the time between those two errors? So that is the mean time failure, mean time to failure. Next one is mean time to repair. So this is the mean time to failure and this is the mean time to repair. So once failure occurs, some time is required to fix the error. So how much time we are getting to rectify that error? So that is the mean time to repair. And next coming to mean time between the failure. So the mean time between MTFF and MTTR, MTTF. MTT means mean time to failure and mean time to repair. So the differences between these two, that is called as a mean time between failure. Okay. So this have some metric. So when metric is like MTBF is equal to MTFF plus MTTR. Okay. So next one is the probability of the failure on demand. POFOD. So probability of failure on demand. So POFOD shortcut. So POFOD measures the likelihood of the system failing when the service request is made. So after the service, whatever the problem is there, so we have done the service, so we have rectified that. Still, we are getting the same error. Then it measures the how many times that same error is occurring after we have done some modifications to rectify that error. Okay, so that is a POFD. So probability. And next, so for POFD, there is some example it has given. So for example, so POFD is given as some seconds time. It is measured in the time. So would mean that out of every 1000 second service request would result in a failure. Okay, so the POFD is a result of 0.001. Then that means for every 1000 service request, so it is getting to be a failure. Okay, so it is a very appropriate for the software products. This metric, whatever the POFOD metric is a very appropriate one, and that are not required to run continuously. And next one is the availability. So what is the availability? So availability is a system, is a measure. Availability of a system is a measure. How likely would the system be available for use over a given period of time? So if you are using, how the user is, how much time he can able to spend on the system continuously. Okay. So this metric not only considers the number of failures occurring during the working with that, and also takes into account the repair time. Okay, both the repair time and both interaction time, both will be taken. Okay, this is the availability. And next, so those are the some metrics of the reliability of the software. So availability, POFOD, so MTTF and MTTR. Our next term is MT. So MTBF, mean time between failure. Okay. So and next coming to reliability growth modeling. So what is a reliability growth modeling? So a reliability growth model is a mathematical model of how software reliability improve as errors and detected and repaired. So how this reliability can be shown to the customer or stakeholder, that is in terms of a mathematical expressions. So what is that? So it is reliability improves as errors. How many errors are there? How many errors are detected and how many are the repaired? Okay. So a reliability growth model can be used to predict when a particular level of reliability is likely to be attained. So what are those models are? Zelinsky and Morando model, and next one is Littlewood and Barrows model. So these are the two models. So to check the reliability growth. So let us see what are those. So first one is so in this model, one model will be followed, and this one model is followed in order to check the reliability growth. Okay, and next coming to the next topic, a strategic approach to software testing. So what is the software testing? So whatever the product we are developed, so in order to test the product, so that is called as the software testing. So we have some approaches in order to test the software product. So what are those? So testing is a set of activities that can be planned in advance and conducted systematically. So the definition of the testing is nothing but a set of activities. So when we do, so it can be planned in advance. So and conducted in a systematical manner. So that is called as a software testing. So for this reason, a template for software testing. So whatever the things in order to develop a software, you will have some document. So whatever the things you did, so you have to note down in the document, in SRS document. Okay. So a set of steps into which we can place specific test case, design techniques, and testing methods. So that should be defined for the software process. So there are some technical and testing methods in order to test of the software product. Okay. So what are those? Let us see. So a number of software testing strategies have been proposed in the literature. So many of the software testing strategies are there. So all provide the software developer with a template for testing, and all have the following generic characteristics. So whatever the testing you have, so okay, whatever the testings you have to perform with the software, whether it is a web application, whether it is a software or something else, whatever it is. So it has some characteristics. Okay. So you have to check those. Then if it is perfectly in that, if it is getting the same correct output according to the input what you are given, so then we call it the testing is a performed good. So what are those categories? Let us see. So testing begins at the component level and works outward toward the integration of the entire component-based computer-based system. So when testing is going to be performed, so after the code implementation, then testing will be performed. That is in component level. So we have seen what is a component. So in individual modules what we have divided. So those modules will be tested first. Later on, after the testing of individual modules, then you go for the integration of those modules. That means combining of all those modules. So that is the integration of the entire compute-based system. So different testing techniques are appropriate at different points in time. So there are so many of the different testings: unit, black box, white box, regression, integration. Different types of the testings are there. Okay. So so many techniques. So for testing, for you people, for testing is an exam. Like that for software also, so many of the testing techniques are there. So why these many techniques are? It will be appropriate to get the appropriate. So to get the software quality more. So to get the software to work effectively. So these many testing techniques are implemented. So testing is conducted by the developer of the software, and for large project, an independent test group. So for designing purpose, one team will be there. For developing purpose, one team will be there. Okay. So in the programming only, for different programs, so HTML will be written by some other programmers, and backend will be written by some other programmers. Like that, testing is also will have some groups. Okay. So if it is a big project, if it is a some large project, then there will be some individual dependent of some group of people, testing group people because. So if it is a small project, then individual developer will be enough for that. And next point is testing and debugging are different activities, but debugging must be accommodated in any testing strategies. So testing is checking whether it is working perfectly or not. That is a testing. Debugging is nothing but removing of the errors. So testing and debugging, these are the two different categories. These are not the same. The terms are not the same. The way of work is also not same. Okay. So if debugging can be used in any of the testing techniques. So let us see what are the testing techniques. So before going to the testing techniques, we have to consider one thing is verification and validation. So what is the verification? What is the validation? So software testing is one element of a broader topic that is often referred to as a verification and validation. So what is a verification and what is a validation? So this verification and validation have given in the first unit. So what is a verification and what is validation? So now we are seeing the definitions as per the textbook. So verification. So what is the meaning by verification? It refers to a set of activities that ensure the software correctly implements the specific function. So whatever the function you are implementing, so whether if you are writing some function like swapping of the two elements, so whether it is performing the function the same or not, that is called as a verification. So for example, I am giving some integer value 10. So I want to get the output as 20. So by giving the 10 value, whether I am getting the 20 or not, that is a verification. So they will have some test cases. Okay. So if you have given the input 10, you want to get the 20. If you have given the input 20, then you have to get the 30. Like that, they will have some test cases. So for given input, what is the output? So whether the output what we are expecting is the correct coming correctly or not, that is called as a verification. And next one is a validation. So validation refers to a different set of activities that ensure that the software that has been built is traceable to customer requirements. Okay, so whatever the activities we are performing, so the software what we have built is traceable by the customer requirements. So whether the software is built according to the customer requirements, we are doing some requirement analysis. So whether whatever the stakeholder given the requirements, whether those requirements are implemented in the software development or not, in the product or not. So that is the term is called as a validation. So verification is for what given input, for what we are getting output. So validation means whatever the requirements given by the stakeholder, whether we are implemented or not. So that is a validation. Okay. And next coming to, so Boehm states this another way. So Boehm is one of the contributors of the software engineering. So he has one, we can say, definition of the verification and validation. So verification means, are we building the product right? So whatever the product we are building, are we building the product in right way or not? So what is the validation? Are we building the right product? So only difference is these two words. So validation means, are we building the right product? Verification means, are we building the product in right way? Okay, so these are the two differences between the validation and verification. So we can shortly call it as a VNV. So we have the in VNV have the so many of the activities as a part of the software quality assurance. Okay, so this VNV compulsory we have to perform in the software quality assurance. So verification and validation encompasses a wide array of SQA activities that include. So what it can include is, so formal technical reviews. So how we can do verification and validation is by conducting the formal technical reviews. So quality and configuration audits. So we said there are some metrics in order to see the software quality assurance. Okay, so same things. So formal technical reviews, quality and configuration audits. What is the performance? How it is getting the performing? What is the simulation feasibility study and documentation review? So whatever the things they have done in the practically, whether they are written in the documentation or not, and a database review. So what if you use some backend? So what type of backend they are used? What type of tables they are used? How they are connected? And algorithms analysis. So we will use this different type of algorithms. So how they are used? So how they are analyzed? And development testing, qualification testing, and installation testing. So while installing, so for example, Windows operating system. So operating system while installing, you need to test. So whether it is working perfectly or not, like that. Okay. So these are the different types of the verification and validation process we use in order to get the software quality assurance. Okay. And next, coming to the strategic issues. So there are some strategic issues. What are they? So even the best strategy will fail if a series of overriding issues are not addressed. So some overriding means some problems will be Still, if you did some testing process, if we did some verification and validation, still we are getting some problems. So how to overcome those problems? So Tom Glib, so he is one of the software contributor. So argues that following issues must be addressed for perfect software strategy, testing strategies is to be implemented. So in order to implement the software testing effectively, we have to answer the following questions. So Tom Glib has given the one of the contributor of software engineering. He has given some of the questions. What are those? Specify product requirements in a quantifiable. So whatever the requirements you have taken from the stakeholder, so we have to specify that. Next, second one is state testing objectives explicitly. So you are performing some test. So what testing? So by using this testing, so what you can get from this software? So by performing this testing, so what type of thing you are getting as output? Okay. So understand the uses of the software and develop a profile for each user category. Okay. So for example, Amazon. So in Amazon, different types of users will interact. Some may interact for the as like customers like us. Some people will interact Amazon for business purpose. Like that, different people will interact. So different people will interact means different profiles they have to maintain. So that is this. So fourth one is develop a testing plan that emphasizes the rapid cycle testing. So you have to. So we said that testing is nothing but it is a planning done in advance and conducted in some specified manner. Okay, like that. So whatever the thing you have, so you have to plan the testing. So like rapid cycle testing. Okay, and next fifth one is build a robust software that is designed to test itself. First you have to build some rough diagrams how we will do. Like that we have to build some robust software. So which is designed for the test purposes. And next, so test strategies for conventional software. So what are the test strategies for the conventional software? So there are many strategies to be used to test the software. So what are those? At one extreme you can wait until the system is fully constructed. So we can test the software. So if it is done, that means the software is completely constructed. Then conduct the test on overall system in hopes of finding errors. And this approach is simply does not work, it will result in bugging software. For example, so you are developing some project. Okay, if you test the project, meanwhile in between the project developing, then you can easily modify the errors. So after completion of all the project, then if you go for the testing, if you get some errors, it may take some time. So sometimes it may fail you. So that is the step. So at the other extreme, you could conduct tests on daily basis whenever any part of the system is constructed. So we said that there are so many modules. Okay, if one module is completed, so we can go for the testing. So next, another module. So another module construction is over, programming is over. Then we have to go for another testing. Like that, so that is the second part. So first part is after completion of the full project, and second part is for daily basis. On daily basis, we can conduct the testing. So this approach, although less appealing to many cases, very effective. So which one? So which will conduct the testing on daily basis. So a testing strategy that is chosen by most software teams falls between the two extremes. So it takes an incremental view of testing. So beginning with the testing of individual program units, moving to the testing design to facilitate the integration of the units. So units are nothing but the modules. Okay, culminating with the test that exercise the constructed system. So whatever the test we are doing, so the software team mostly go for the second one, that is the daily basis testing, that means individual. So after beginning with the testing of the individual program. So after individual program, they will go for the integration. Integration means combining all those modules into single unit. Okay, and next coming to. So let's go for the testings. So I said what are the testings. So the first one is the unit test. Test strategies for the conventional software. Okay, so first one is the unit test. So unit testing focuses verification effort on the smallest unit of the software design, the software component or module. So what is the unit testing? Unit testing is nothing but it focuses on the verification effort on the smallest unit of the software design. What is meant by verification? Checking the values. So checking of the software product, whether we are giving the same input, whether we are getting the same output or not. Or we building the product the right way. Okay. So the unit test focus on the internal processing logic. So what unit testing mainly focus? It focuses on the internal logic. It focuses on the data structures what you constructed within the boundaries of your component. So this type of testing can be conducted in a parallel for multiple components. So whatever the components you are using in the software project, so you can conduct parallelly. For example, you are designing a web page. Okay. You created a login page. So login page means you have to give the username and password. So when you given the sign up, so when you did the sign up, whether those values are storing in the database or not. So that is the parallel checking. Okay, so this is the unit testing. So in unit testing, these are the things will be done. So first, this is software engineering. First module to be tested. So you are testing the each module. These are the test cases. That means if we give the 1, what is the output? So for giving the 1, we have to get the output is something. So whether we are getting or not. So that is the test case one. Like the different test cases will be available. Not only single test cases. So many of the test cases we have. Okay. So after the module is tested with the, so what type of we have to see is what is the interface. So what is the local data structures, what are the boundary conditions, what are the independent paths, what are the error handling paths, what are they? So we have to check internally. So that is the unit testing. So in unit test environment, so you will have the one driver. So along with we go for the some modules, then sub programs. Okay, then it will lead to the results. So here driver means it is nothing but a main program. So your programs will have the main. Okay, so that's the same thing. So this is the unit test. Next one is the integration testing. So integration testing is a systematic technique for constructing the software architecture while at the same time conducting the test to uncover errors associated with the interfacing. So up to now we have seen the unit testing. Now we are going for the next one is the second one is the integration testing. So what is the integration testing? So integration testing is nothing but it is a systematic technique. For what? For constructing of the software architecture. At the same time conducting test to whatever the errors which are not covered while the construction of the project. So those errors can be covered in this integration testing. Okay. So in this integration testings we have the different strategies. Integration is nothing but combining. Okay. So what we said, so the project will be divided into some parts, some modules. So later after testing the each module, then we will go to combine. That means integrate. So while integrating, we have some of the strategies. What are those? First one is the top-down testing. Second one is the bottom-up. Third one is the regression, and fourth one is the smoke testing. So these are the different types of the testings. So first one is the top-down testing. So what is the top-down testing? So top-down integration testing is an incremental approach to construction of the software architecture. So top-down approach. So in the architecture, for the development of the architecture, so this top-bottom integration testing will be done. Okay, modules are integrated by moving downward through the control hierarchy. So from beginning in the main control to the top-down approach. So where is the main program? So from main program to the down. Modules subordinate and ultimately subordinate to the main control module are incorporated in the structure in either depth first or breadth first. In the DS, sorry, in DS you have the depth first and depth first and breadth first. So depth wise, height wise. So breadth first. horizontally, vertically, searching manner. Like that, the program will be test. So that is a top-down approach. Second one is bottom-up integration. So in bottom-up integration, it is begins with the construction and testing with atomic modules. That means whatever the modules which are in the lowest levels. That means the bottom-up approach is from bottom to up. It will be both. Okay. So in this, it checks the functionality provided by the components. What are the functionality given by the components? So how it is going to subordinate with the other modules. So that will be checked in this bottom-up integration. And next one is regression testing. So what is meant by regression testing? So regression testing is a re-execution of some subset of the test that have already been conducted to ensure that the changes have not propagated unintended side effects. So regression testing is nothing but it is a re-execution of the some subset of test. So whatever the test you have, some unit test or black box or white box, whatever the test you have. So in order to execute all those, so we conduct again re-execution. Okay. So whenever software is corrected, some aspect of the software configuration, so it is changed. For example, you are getting some error after doing some testings. Also, still you are getting some error. Then you have to again re-execute the some testings. So that testing is called as a regression testing. So regression testing helps to ensure that changes don't introduce unintended behavior or additional errors. So once we done the regression testing, so we can assure that there is no additional errors will not come. Okay, whatever errors are there before, those will also be rectified. So we didn't get any more errors. So regression testing may be conducted manually. So we can conduct manually means without using any software, we can do them manually. Okay. So summary of this session is, so we have seen what is the reliability of software. Reliability of the software. So we have seen the hardware and software reliability. We have seen some of the software metrics. Software metrics for reliability and as well as for SQA, software quality assurance. And also we have seen some of the strategic issues. Strategic issues in testing, and we have also seen what is the testing and different types of testing.